Good evening. By day, I am Max Porter, writer, editor, lore keeper, board game designer, stream host, various other things at City State Entertainment, where we are working on the MMORPG Camelot Unchained. But this evening, as many evenings, I am but a humble dungeon master working on my own campaigns. And that's what I'm doing. So, I am currently working on my villain mind map. And I've labeled it villain, even though it's not entirely full of villains only. Because this is the method I've worked out over the years through various campaigns. Especially, the most epic and far-reaching and longest-lasting campaigns that I've played, that I've run to... this is the way that I've worked out to keep track of and keep being inspired by and keep having ideas for a vast conspiracy. Something that is world-spanning or kingdom-spanning, that has many different secrets and stories for the players to pursue if they choose to fixate on it. And both to kind of for me to keep track of stuff, but also allow me the flexibility to come up with things, specifics, with new ideas in the moment or in response to what the players do. Because nothing makes a campaign staler more quickly than figuring everything out ahead of time as a dungeon master and sticking to it without any exceptions, because that's not a game. That will quickly become a chore. So we are working on this mind map, and actually when I last left off the other evening, let's see, what's today? Tuesday? When I left off Monday evening, I had just, by virtue of the proximity, by just ending up with the Steeltooth Pack, which is a gang of bandits introduced in Bref the Barbarian's backstory, and the proximity to Lord Rothdal, a character I came up with as a kind of a secret based off of Bella the Bard's backstory. They were near each other, and as soon as they happened to end up near each other on the mind map, and as soon as I saw that, I said, aha! That suggests a connection between them. So I drew that line, and now I'm continuing to work toward layering enemies, which I've explained in the previous stream, but I'll say it again in brief, that in order to make the most out of your game's story while also allowing for the push and pull of players' ideas and decisions, it's best to make sure there's a naturally escalating tension, a naturally escalating conflict or storyline, by making sure that the way the world is set up, there are lower level enemies who are controlled by higher level enemies who are controlled by still yet more secret and powerful enemies who are controlled by still yet more secret and powerful enemies. And if you have that set up, then really no matter where the players come into it, but especially if they come into it at the bottom layer, the game follows this very natural and organic, or can follow a very natural and organic progression of escalating tension and conflict. So Lord Rothdal is, in this case, the more powerful enemy than the Steeltooth Pack. But I have some concerns about that because I set things up in a certain way where the Steeltooth Pack storyline is going to come to a head quite some months down the line. And I think by then the players will probably be too high level for the Steeltooth Pack to be much of a challenge. So I've got to either go back and change something, which was an honest mistake. I wrote the wrong month in the secret information I gave to the player. But if I can come up with something so that it looks like I never made a mistake at all, that would be preferable. This mind map is really starting to take off because we're getting lots of connections between all of the organizations and characters, and we've gotten certain nodes or networks that have connected to each other via interesting ways. So, for example, the Dark Six, which was introduced in a character backstory, is now connected to the Netheros. So these Dark Six deities, demigods, or maybe just very, very powerful, evil, magical beings. I haven't quite decided on their exact status. Maybe in the Dark Six, maybe some of them are gods, maybe some aren't. I haven't completely decided. But most likely dark gods, evil gods, who aren't worshipped in the normal pantheon that I have, is connected. This whole sequence over here, they are connected via these lines to the Netheros. So there's going to be a connection there for the players to follow up on. So this is because I came up with the idea that the Savage Seer was gifted with foresight or with a prophecy by the Merc, which is one of the Dark Six, and knows of the Frog Talker, which is a goblin seer introduced early on in the campaign, who is tracking Lou, that the players would very much like to find out about. And the Savage Seer is connected to Curly Feathered Aarakocras, of which a player is one. And that is, of course, connected with this whole sequence here. So everything's starting to get connected, and as the players discover these connections, they will start to feel the presence of this vast conspiracy. And then their theories, they're going to come up with ideas based on seeing part of the whole. And that will further inspire me, and I can steal their ideas or play into them or not as I so choose. Okay, so we haven't connected these guys up at all. But one thing I've got to make sure I'm doing is if I can get all the villainous organizations or important organizations and villain names up on the mind map, then I'll have a lot easier time connecting everything. Now there's the regular Pantheon. I don't know if I want to list all 12 of the regular gods out. In fact, I certainly do not. But I did do that for the Dark Six, but that's because I just got real excited about that. I mean, I suppose I could. 12 things. I'd have to write real small over here. I'm moving the pink chill around because I haven't... Actually, now that I have moved it around, see, this is why the mind map is such a useful tool. Balvroxos, this demon, this powerful devil, could have a connection to it. Maybe Balvroxos created the pink chill as punishment to the dwarves for some reason. Yeah, that would be interesting. The pink chill is a disease invented by players, and one thing I always say is when the player hands you a knife, it is your job as the dungeon master to use it. So she put the our dwarf warrior, Mavra, put the pink chill into her backstory, a disease that only affects dwarves. And so I am going to do something with that, and as I moved it around, I realized, wouldn't it be interesting if the pink chill had a devilish source? Balvroxos. Not my favorite name for a devil that I've ever come up with. But I needed something in the moment, and that's what it ended up being, and I'm gonna live with it. I can always come up with something really cool for Balvroxos' true name. If I want to blame that. Lionation, keeping you open to support, but keeping you on you. Oh, okay. We'll just say... Thanks, Lionation. Lionation is a player in my game, but has come by, but is not getting spoiled, so that's good. That's good. Okay. I could put the gods up here. Just seems like a lot of work, but maybe it'll work out. Oh man, this was an unfortunate, unused whole sequence of writing that I did. See, this is why I don't, I try not to over-prepare. It happens sometimes anyway. But I prepared this whole thing because the players had found this severed tongue. This was part of my objects as adventure hooks thing that I'm trying out in this campaign. I think it's been fairly successful, although it's mostly resulted in the players having a lot of low-level magic items that they forget about, than in actually sparking any adventuring. But that's a reason to do the mind map, is because, again, it's gonna, when they start seeing these connections, then they will have a reason to. But I wrote out a reason to connect the items to the, they're going to want to know things. They're going to want to figure it out. So I'm using human nature. But unfortunately, unless I have the severed tongue show up again, I was going to do something with hags, coven of hags that use the severed tongues to communicate with each other, but the players really did not want anything to do with a severed tongue that occasionally talked. And I guess I can hardly blame them, especially since they've found lots of cursed or semi-cursed or questionable items. Alright. The Steeltooth Pack. Yeah, that's what they're called. Okay. Well, I'm not sure I have Well, this guy should probably go on there. Of course. I don't know if I have Gretarar on here. Now, Gretarar was the mate of Chowderth the Clever, and was slain in the presence of, I don't know how much they really helped, of the players, in the presence of the players. But I definitely want... I don't know if Gretarar needs to go on here anymore. Chowderth is yes, she had a relationship with the Vey Empire, being a long-lived dragon. But I liked that name. I guess that's why I put that in here. Zendrig. Champion of the Red. These dragon names are great. Sounds like a dragon slayer, honestly. Zendrig, Champion of the Red. I think I'm gonna move Chowderth down a bit, because I'm leaning toward... I haven't come up with any particular connections for Chowderth yet. Although I would love to chase the players down with a really powerful dragon. I haven't quite been able... I mean, they're not ready for it. Who am I kidding? But I'm making some space up here. Maybe Zendrig, Champion of the Red. Maybe Zendrig, Champion of the Red, has a connection to Lugh. Because... Lugh captured the body of a paladin. And maybe Zendrig has a connection there. If he's a dragon slayer, then Chowderth would certainly... I don't know. Champion of the Red. Well, if he's a Champion of the Red and Chowderth's a red dragon, maybe they're friends. Oh. It's a thought. I'm gonna think about that a little more. I'm not super inspired by it. Alright, I think I am going to put the months and god, the god. Now in my world here, I've purposefully named all of the months, starting with the first letter from real world months, because I love the flavor of having a unique calendar, but I hate struggling to remember, you know, it's like, oh man, okay, so... Like, if the year in this world has 380 days, and it's all divided into 10 weeks, blah, blah, blah. It's like, how does that compare to, like, a real world year, or, like, what month is it, and what is this month, like, is it in, what season is it in? So I hate that, but so my solution is that, my months have unique names, but they are easier to remember, and they exactly match the real-world Gregorian calendar. All right. Let's do this. I'm gonna put the gods up here. I don't have a particular inspiration for them, but really the point of the mind map is to inspire some of these connections, some of these ideas. So, you know, why not? I may need to move the frog. This is going to be quite extensive, so I may need to move things around a little bit. I'm going to shrink down the text too, so that I can use as little space as possible. Oh man, what are they called? The Wild Pantheon? The Gods of the Year? The Month Gods? Maybe they don't have like a whole unifying name. Maybe they're just... yeah. Well, I probably do want to call them something. The Pantheon... the Cycle Pantheon. Like a yearly cycle, that'd be easy to remember. Okay. Ah, red. The annual Pantheon? What does it have? Having to do with the calendar. Is there a word for that? Is there a word for having to do with the passage of time? I don't know. I wonder if Google knows. Do with the passage of time. And the creeping... no, I don't have anything. Alright. This sounds like bicycle, but... the Cycle Pantheon. Trying to come up with a good name for... Alright, I'll go with the Cycle Pantheon for now, even though it sounds like bicycle. Associations. Alright. So... let's get going. I think I'll start here and... just circle around. So we have Jaxu. We have Fiexi. And as I'm putting these down, I'm going to see if anything pops up. Mariko for March. See if I can actually remember these, because I say it's easier to remember. A Feasty for April. Mand for May. Yes, that's it. Right. Yeah. These got bunched up by accident. This would be easier to read if I bolded them from the beginning. Okay, after Mand is Jwerk. Which it's fortunate that Jwerk ended up in an accessible location because it'll be easy to draw lines to Jwerk, and that's important because one of the players is a cleric that worships this god of celebration. Whose symbol is a chalice. Alright, Jojor. Another thing that I guess I try to do whenever I'm creating a world is make up my own deities. I guess that's worth mentioning on its own. And this time I connected them to the calendar because it was easier. I didn't have to make up as much stuff, which I think is a perfectly legitimate reason. Oh, this would have been a good God of War to mention. One of the players asked me what the God of War was, so I went with Mand the Mighty and expanded that. And Jaxu. But I could have mentioned Awulf. But maybe not. After Awulf, Seeker. Also good placement for connecting to other things. Lynch. And then I think the next one's Noblest. And finally, Deremnon. All right. So they are all members of the Cycle Pantheon. And I could have made them all one thing, but they are not a monolith. These different gods, they are all part of the same pantheon, so they certainly want to not let anyone else in. They don't want the Dark Six to become part of it. But they may not get along with each other, and they may have different goals. So I think we can safely connect Zhurk to the curly-feathered Aarakocras. But then the Merc the Savage Seer. And I had already thought of the idea that Daicio is a phoenix. A phoenix Aarakocra that wants to die. And so is fighting against this prophecy that the curly-feathered Aarakocras, prophecy through the Savage Seer, to the Great Unmaking. I didn't connect the Savage Seer and the Great Unmaking. I just connected them to these guys. Okay, so they need a connection to the Great Unmaking. Alright, but first, Zhurk. I need a name. I need a name for curly-feathered Aarakocras. What are curly-feathered birds called? Maybe if I can Google it, I'll impress my player. Maybe I'll impress M. Curly-feathered birds. long-tailed. Streamer tail, spatule tail. Is there a name for curly feathered birds? That would be too lucky. All right. I'll keep moving. Curly feathered Aarakocras. Okay. So I'm letting that player be kind of part of a prophecy there. I think that's okay. But this is why Daisyo has slain a bunch of curly feathered Aarakocras through the Scarred Earth cult. And that's their connection. Okay. Now the Kingdom of Ebb underwent a doom. I wonder if the doom was the Great Unmaking. Maybe for now. The Great Unmaking has come before, and it could come again. What does that have to do with Watch the Skies, though? I'll have to think about that. The Sword Wings say Watch the Skies. The Doom. I mean, man, it really would make sense. If the doom that came to the Kingdom of Ebb. Maybe just the Doomed could be an organization. Or those who recall or who brought about the doom of the Kingdom of Ebb. I do have to make a decision about that. And if the obscure of the Dark Six is dead... It could be that there is this cycle that continues, perpetuated by the gods. And that these kingdoms rise and fall in the Wildlands. My instinct says go with it, so I'm going to go with it. You may hear my child in the background. It could be that the Doomed thought that the Great Unmaking would defeat the problem, but they were tricked. They were tricked. So what was the threat that the Kingdom of Ebb feared more than being wiped off the face of the map? A threat from above. I'll have to think about that. I will have to think about that. Because the Kingdom of Ebb had made all these alliances with lots of devils. In fact, they might have been friendly with old Asmodeus himself. Asmodeus. Ruler of the Nine Hells, but perhaps challenged by Balvroxos, among others. I'd say that feels right. Starting to get lots of interesting connections here. So this is more about history than clear and present threat. Watch the skies. I need a name for a terrible event. Let's go to fantasy name generators and see if they have something. Natural disaster name generator. Apocalypse name generator. I love you. I love you, fantasy name generators. The Dusk of Mankind. Oh, these are fantastic. The Purification. The Burning Winds. The Cleansing Rains. Oh my god, that's perfect. That's perfect because then it can be connected to the deities. Who were punishing the Kingdom of Ebb for the deal that the Kingdom of Ebb made. The Empire of Ebb? I like the Kingdom of Ebb and the Veye Empire. I don't know why. Oh my gosh. Punishing the Kingdom of Ebb, or cleansing the Kingdom of Ebb from their alliances with Asmodeus, and many devils. Of Roxas, a rival devil. I like that. Okay. So the Cycle Pantheon brought about the cleansing rains. Amazing. And that could have... that should be green, probably. And that can have all kinds of interesting connections. And I just decided that Chowderth should have helped destroy the Veye Empire. Ugh, that was a dumb way of doing that. Just gonna delete the little mess I've made. And make it red. Now the Veye Empire was toppled by rebellion, but there may be a reason. That Chowderth and her mate, Grettirar, ended up settling so close to a place where a great battle happened. You know what? I have some information about that already created. I should put that down. Oh, nice to put this in my outline, the pink chill sufferer, when I highlighted it. That's good to know. Site of battle where archers of any... Okay. Did I not come up with the name of the battle? Ooh. Excellent. Okay. So that was a critical battle in the fall of the Veye Empire. I could know the name of the Archmage as well. was Apocalypse name generator was awesome. Battle name. Attack of the Apocalypse. War of Kakas. Alright, I'll call this The Fall of Wizard name. Maybe. Oh, what would be the most? I should do something French. Although the Fall of Avalmorn just sounds cool. And such it shall be. Okay, so if that was the critical battle in the fall of the Empire, and Chowderth, the still living red dragon, had something to do with it, we should put it up. Excellent. Okay. I'm gonna say that while all the Cycle Pantheon had a hand in deciding on the Cleansing Rains, that the Kingdom of Ebb tried to defeat, but ended up defeating themselves. I'll say Mariko had a hand up in making it happen, voted to make it happen, and The god Owlf voted against it. That should be interesting. Okay. Now, come to think of it, curly feathered Aarakocras really are seeking to, or will stop the grant making. Circle of Spores is trying to stop the Great Unmaking, because that can, because it just, Circle of Spores, it is about the cycle of life and death. So they would be in favor of something like the Cleansing Rains. That cuts across a lot of lines. I feel like I should put something in the middle there. I've got Stray here. I haven't connected Stray to anything yet. And it's this kind of process that suggests new connections and ideas. The Frog Talker. Alright, of course, if Stray was connected to the Circle of Spores, why wouldn't she have mentioned it before? They certainly haven't asked her about the Frog Talker. Which she might very well know about. Ah, and she might have a relationship with Zendrig, champion of the Red. Probably a negative relationship. He's a bad dude. And Stray wants to kind of preserve amazing creatures. Zendrig could be her nemesis. Friends with, or just knows about? I'll say knows about the Frog Talker. So what does Lou need this body for? I feel like I need another evil organization here somewhere. I knew I forgot something. Of course, there's Lady Zavia, the Lich. She of the scepter of super evil scepter of a super evil god. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I just have to get the timing right. So Lady Zavia was a lich who... how long ago? Was that the time of the Kingdom of Ebb? Or the Vey Empire? How long has this lich lady been sleeping? I guess the Vey Empire, because her undead raided that place more recently than, the Kingdom of Ebb times. Although sealing herself up until she could more easily conquer everything. Yeah. This'll work because she can have a connection to the cleansing rains. Perhaps she was afraid that the cleansing rains would come. Wipe out the Vey Empire. So she sealed herself away before that could happen. And I need the name of the god that the scepter is connected to. Okay. Of course, I called Nezix. There we go. Okay, Nezix. I'm gonna put Nezix. I mean, she was Nezix's primary avatar. Primary person. Running out of room here. That's fine. And the god Nezix told her of the cleansing rains. It seems small. I want that to be bigger text. Such a short word. Alright, so she had earned the favor of this relatively minor god of undeath, but still not a fun dude. And he greatly feared the cleansing rains. So... yes, and her relationship with the Vey Empire. This should be red because the fall of Avamorn brought about the fall of the Vey Empire, so that would only make sense. Cool. What I like about this is I'm setting up a world where magic is very alive and the gods are very involved. Even though you may not see it in the short term or over the, in the small details of your life, they are part of the big picture for sure. Cool. Well, that's all complicated, but and vast. I think I'm mainly getting the things done here now. The Dark Six. What if the Dusk had a positive relationship with the Circle of Spores? The Gloom had a positive relationship with the Circle of Spores. Essentially kind of part of their belief that death is, part of this cycle and is inevitable. That's interesting. A little messy, but I'll take it. Koshmar. What does that mean? La Fraternité de Bataille. Cauchemar. Is that like a nightmare? The dust. The Dead Lords. The Dead Kings. That's cool. So the Dead Kings. Welcome the cleansing rains, or... yeah. They are not the non-evil undead, in a sense. Although they can be evil, they are more neutral than they are evil. And maybe they're dwarves. And, fight against Belvroxos. Created the pink chill to kind of punish them. I can see a wonderful relationship. Maybe that's why Lou. Maybe Lou is connected to Belvroxos. Belvroxos. interesting that I haven't put a direct connection between the Aarakocras and the Netheros, even though they ended up both in the middle. I should put something there, though. I'll get there. So Zendrig, Champion of the Red, can essentially be Belvroxos' lieutenant. And this Devil Lord could be seeking the bodies of powerful dead paladins, which is why Lucas was only too eager to provide in return for some dark gift. Tic-Tac-Doe! Welcome! How you doing, friend? You still there? Three sentences. Let's sum up the conspiracy. The best conspiracies are the simplest. The best conspiracies for executing. Yeah, wrong sum. SU, I'm sure. For executing are the simplest. The best plans, certainly. But when it comes to making a D&D game, making a D&D conspiracy, complexity is a good thing, because it's going to give us lots of interesting avenues for the players to run down. But in 3 sentences, I shall do my best. The conspiracy is this. The Netheros want to forge a new empire where they can rule the Wildlands for eternity by using a series of powerful events manipulated to their desires in order to bring about their eternal rule. This is a power struggle. Rule them and suck them into their own dimension. Not suck them into their own dimension. In this world, the Wildlands have periodically been ruled by large kingdoms or empires, but they inevitably splinter up into many smaller kingdoms, etc., or just, wild lands. And that is because each of the empires, for, the last 1,000 years, have gone through this cycle of destruction and a new one rising up, guided in part by the pantheon of the deities. So the Netheros are these people who each have an association with an elemental power. Lu is associated with air, Brazius the Defiler with fire, Givok the Hollow with earth, Torobitha the Whisperer with water. And they think they have figured out about this cycle, and they want to forge an empire that will last forever and live forever. Right on, the man with no screen name. So the Netheros are kind of manipulating events in order to make that happen. And that has broad and vast connections. And the best way I've ever worked out is to keep track of a vast conspiracy or connections between many different organizations and characters is this kind of mind map document or image, where green lines indicate a positive relationship, red a negative one, and black neutral. And this allows me to kind of have all of this inspiration and keep track of all of these different things all in one place without being too complicated, and allowing me the freedom without being overly specific to come up with things either on the spot or in response to the players playing. The tic-tac-toe. The Netheros and their minions are trying to take control. Got it. What is preventing them from achieving this goal? Well, see, it's not enough for them to take control. That's the thing. If the Netheros wanted to just conquer the Wildlands, they probably could. They are 4 incredibly powerful people. And they are organized, and they each are going to have their own kind of connections and organizations that are devoted to them. So they probably could conquer the Wildlands without, in a relatively, with relative ease. The problem is, they know that what's preventing them is that they know that the Pantheon, the gods, have things set up so that when an empire, like the Vey Empire or the Kingdom of Ebb, the even older Kingdom of Ebb, kind of become corrupt or essentially corrupt or threaten, the material plane, threaten the power of the gods. They kind of step in with something like the Cleansing Rains and make sure that that empire crumbles and falls. In the case of the Kingdom of Ebb, they realized the Cleansing Rains were coming because they had made all these deals with devils, including Asmodeus, the ruler of the 9 hells. And they tried to defeat the Cleansing Rains with the power of the Great Unmaking. But of course it backfired. Perhaps the Pantheon always knew it would, and wiped out the Kingdom of Ebb far worse than the Cleansing Rains ever would have. So, to get back to the simple thing, is that the Netheros don't want to conquer the Wildlands and forge their empire until they can be sure that their empire will last for eternity. So they have to manipulate events so that this cycle of death and rebirth of empires works in their favor and preserves their empire instead of destroying it. Some electrician jokes from them with no screen name. Red, green, and black being negative, positive, and neutral, so well-grounded, it's electrifying, indeed. Okay. So this is coming along pretty nicely. I've connected a lot of these different things, and I've gotten a much clearer idea of what's going on. What the conspiracy is, how the players are going to enter into... Because remember, it's not just about, me knowing what's going on. It's about how are the players going to discover it. And I think that this is a great tool to help them do that without it being, on rails, without it being railroady. Because they can kind of get these hints and start connecting the dots themselves. If they put dots on a mind map, then it would be quite literal. Okay. So this whole area has become quite complex and interesting. That's great. This area is looking a little less so. So I think I'm going to connect the Acolytes of the Shadow and Drowned Lagrana. Does that make sense, though? Sure. Maybe Lagrana has drowned before. Maybe this cyclical thing is, something they know a little about. I just think Drowned Lagrana sounds like a Lovecraftian place. And I think it would be cool if the Acolytes of the Shadow, which is the cult that one of the players, Equitus the Tiefling, was born into. Equitus the Tiefling Warlock was born into the Acolytes of the Shadow. So one thing that I should do here... I've kind of been taking an idea from Critical Role, as Matt Mercer has all of these amazing dreams that he gives, or visions that he gives some of the players. I've been doing that too. So I'm going to give Dream Equitus dreams of chanting Acolytes of the Shadow, mentioning Drowned. Long drowned. No, just drowned the Grana. That'll throw him for a loop. Now the Acolytes of the Shadow. Where are they? Where are they going to do their evil ritual? Ivelon, you are super crazy with all this writing. Thank you, I think. That's true, the man with no screen name. The right stuff, indeed. Let me see here. Let me go to my character histories and check. Servant of the Shadow will wreak havoc upon the countryside. The true horror. Oh yeah, the Servant of the Shadow. I already know I want it to be a Nightcrawler. The order is that they keep the souls of those they murdered, cast by the dark god, use them as servants. The Old Barrow, 5 days south and 3 days southwest of Tourine. Okay, have I put that up here? The Old Barrow. His dark servant will be raised. Excellent. 11:18. So, if I'm going to check that, 5 days south, 2, 3, 4. Oh boy, it's right next to another player's important location. Excellent. And we've got some powerful evil creature there too. Nice. Because the Acolytes of the Shadow are going to know about all the Dark Six. But I have to put the Servant of the Shadow on here. What should its name be? Let's see. Nightcrawler. Nightwalker? Nightwing? Oh, did they take that out of this monster manual? Oh, man. It was in previous editions, wasn't it? Oh, no. That makes me so sad. Those were some of my favorite, like, high-level monsters that I never got to use. Nightcrawlers. Well, they are in an older book. Hang on. The good old 3.5 Monster Manual. Oh, Nightshades. Nightshades, they were called. The Nightcrawler, the Nightwalker, Gargantuan Undead. Now, did I ever decide... Yeah, so the Sword Wings are actually afraid of the Cleansing Rains. Why? Watch the skies, says the old, wizened, scarred Swordwing. Watch the skies. Nightwing has Magic Drain. A lot of nasty spell-like abilities. This is going to be an important villain, so I think it's worth seeing what I have. Undead pack. I have a Bodak. And the Devourer. I mean, the Devourer is the perfect thing for this because how powerful is the Devourer in this edition? I think they lowered its level quite a lot. They used to be really deadly. Oh, right, it's in Volo's Guide to Monsters. Well, if I recall correctly, they lowered it quite a bit. I have a Dracolich. I'm going to use that as a Nightwing. Nightmare, Nightshade. Okay, so I've only got this, the walking Nightshade, not the flying one. That's fine. A Nightwalker can destroy any weapon or item by crushing it. That's amazing. Evil Gaze. Paralyzed with Fear. Spell-like abilities. Contagion and Darkness. Yeah, a lot of nasty spell-like abilities. Including a bunch that can result in instant death. Cool. Well, I have a pretty cool Nightshade. I wonder what kind of shadow demon I might have. I could also pull out the Pathfinder one, which also has Nightshades in it. And compare the stats and use the one that I like best. And I think I might actually do that. Oh, this isn't helpful. This is all my Shadowrun stuff. I had a Shadow Demon miniature token. Could have sworn I did. Well, it's not showing up, but that's okay. Okay. This guy's amazing looking. pretty creepy. And all nightshades are like preceded by this aura of cold. So you've got your automatic intro to a combat there as you describe the frost creeping along the ground. Alright, yeah, I want to get him on there. The Servant of the Shadow. I wonder... It should have a name. What happens if I just put Shadow in? Demon name generator. If I recall, the demon names aren't all that amazing. Not amazing. The best bad guy names come from the Necromancer name generator. Let's see. There we go. Here we go. Uzuvok, Doom Whisper. That's a little much. The Doom Whisper? I do already have a Whisperer. Oh man, Krunus the Soul Keeper. Combat opener button. I always wanted to open a Weapon of the Gods session, quoting Carl Douglas. Don't know why I'm sharing, but it feels good to do so. Could you, yeah, elaborate a little bit, the man with no screen name? Maybe I'll just call it the Nightwalker. Describe what it is. I mean, there could be more than one Nightwalker, but there's one. So they want to summon this thing. And it is nasty. Everybody was Kung Fu fighting. It's a game about Kung Fu fighting. Gotcha. Weapon of the Gods. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that, but yeah, that would be amazing. Everybody was Kung Fu fighting. And you stand in the tea house. What do you do? Someone has knocked over your tea and smashed through the balcony railing. Alright, well, I wanted to really populate up this whole area, and I have done that. So, tomorrow, or sometime other time this week, I would very much like to finish this corner. I feel like we can do a lot of interesting stuff with Lord Rothdal and the Steel Tooth Pack, who aren't connected to anything right now. So I'm going to figure that out next time, and probably call this for now. I would like to get some of this more connected back to Lugh as well. What if I just went like that? I don't have a good idea for it yet. I'll think about it. Alright. Awesome, that's no screen name. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you to anybody who came by and watched. Thank you to anyone who follows the stream. It's really, really greatly appreciated. I will see you folks around. Hopefully I'll be able to stream again next night, tomorrow night. But in any case, until later, have a good one. Have a good evening. Have a good, wherever you may be. And thanks. Bye-bye.